Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi. The Israel war, on and on and on since October 17th last year. A lot of things have happened. बहुत कुछ हो रहा है and एक recently बड़ा ही dangerous incident हुआ, which I had reported yesterday in a small short in the morning, that the Israelis allegedly, कोई confirmation है नहीं, Israel खुद बोलता नहीं है, but allegedly they have bombed the Iranian embassy के साथ वाली building in Damascus, and that thing damaged the Iranian embassy, it damaged a little bit onto the Canadian embassy. I don't know whether one should be happy about that or not. Jokes apart, uh, we need to look at the game which is being played. So I have with me Col Ajay Singh, who's been actually looking at this very very carefully. He's also an author. He's written books on Kargil. He's written books on Siachen. Check them out. All you got to do is go to Amazon, type Colonel Ajay Singh. You'll see his books right there. He's written a lot about this particular subject. So let's get him in and try and find out कि यार हो क्या रहा है भाई. अभी ईरान इजराइल का डायरेक्ट कुछ झगड़ा शुरू हो जाएगा क्या है, व्हाट इज द गेम. सो लेट्स जरा घुसते हैं इसके अंदर बिकॉज काफी टाइम से वी हैव नॉट डन एन इजराइल अपडेट. द वॉर हैज बीन ड्रैगिंग ऑन. लेट्स नाउ दिस हैज बीन अ बिग अपडेट. लेट्स काइंड ऑफ गेट इन सर एंड फाइंड आउट व्हाट्स हैपनिंग. जय हिंद सर. नमस्कार. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adi. Pleasure coming back onto your show. It's always good to interact with you because तुम्हारे साथ तो एक जुगलबंदी होती रहती है हमेशा. So I always enjoy it. So
Sir,
let's get.
ये बताओ सर, ये दिस एम्बेसी थिंग इज प्रीटी बिग. आई मीन नाउ ये इरानियंस बोल रहे हैं कि भाई 13-14 पीपल हैव डाइड.
Yes.
The next in line to Qasem Soleimani has also died
Yes.
in that, and that's a big hit.
Aadi.
Yeah,
Yes.
79-year-old chap next in line. मतलब he was the next Qasem Soleimani.
Yeah.
उसको भी ठोक दिया इन लोगों ने जाके.
Yes.
And so what do you think Iran is going to do, sir?
See, firstly, look at the incident that's taken place. You see, Israel is now attacking both Hezbollah, Lebanon, and Syria with impunity, right? Syria made the second attack. They killed 44 Syrian soldiers in an attack on Damascus. That was just about 5 days ago. Now, yesterday, when they attacked the Iranian embassy at Damascus, remember, an embassy is sovereign soil. They have actually launched an attack on a sovereign soil of Iran. And in that, they killed the number 2 person for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, General Mohammad Reza Zehadi. And another general and 7 other senior officials out there. It was a blatant attack. Now, Israel also gone and said it was not the embassy, it was the headquarters of the Quds Brigade, the Revolutionary Guards Brigade. So, in other words, it is Shariam hum kar rahe hai, bhai hum karenge, tumko jo karna hai kar lo. Right? So, usually, like if remember when they attacked, they killed 44 of the Syrian soldiers in Damascus. They didn't make a comment. They didn't accept or deny. Everyone knew they had done it. In this case, they have not bothered to deny. They have gone to the action and said, we attacked the Kurds headquarters. So, you can put it now, gloves are off. This is actually a very big thing.
गड़बड़ है, बहुत बड़ी गड़बड़ है.
क्योंकि क्या है, अभी now the Iranian government is under pressure to retaliate. अभी अंदर से remember ईरान में भी काफी unrest चल रहा है. It is not all hunky dory there. Own government will be under pressure. You are talking so much about you are going to retaliate against USA. Israel को दिखाएंगे. We will eliminate Israel, push them into the sea. Now they are killing us with impunity. आप लोग क्या करोगे इसके बाद?
तो लोग
पूछेंगे. तो अभी ईरान के ऑप्शंस क्या है? As we go along, we'll go into it. पर आपको जानते हो आदि, मैं तो हिस्टोरियन तो पहले में हम लोग I will go into history first. Right? Now you take a look at it. This is not the first time Iran has been attacked in this war. January में जब आपने कहा ना मोहम्मद सलेमानी, the previous head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, who was killed by whose mourners were he was killed by Trump in 2020. Last year, when his mourners had got together, there was an attack supposedly by that Jaish al-Adl organization, which killed about 140 mourners. What did Iran do after that? They launched missiles into Pakistan, into the headquarters, knocked off a few sheep, a few buildings. Pakistan retaliated कि हम तो अपना ईंट का जवाब पत्थर से देंगे. They retaliated and the story fizzled out. But it is not so simple, because that organization Jaish al-Adl was formed in 1990 by USA
Yes,
to
sir.
create trouble in Iranian border areas of Baluchistan.
He's been run by
So,
ISI now.
yes, matlab, it was a message from USA to Iran कि बाबा अगर आपको प्रॉक्सीज इस्तेमाल करना है तो प्रॉक्सीज तो हम भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, जरा
Mhm.
संभाल कर रहिए नहीं तो थोड़ा ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगा. इफ यू टेक अ लुक एट इट, ये पोस्चरिंग था.
Yep.
But what happened after that? The attacks by the Houthis, the Hezbollahs reduced drastically. Did you
Mhm.
notice that? वो एक
Mhm.
पैटर्न बन गया था. Attacks reduced. So obviously behind the scenes discussions all must have going on, would have happened.
Switzerland.
Now, yes, even this attack is a major posturing
Yeah.
by both Israel and the USA against Iran's interests.
Yep.
Now, let us go a little deeper into it. With all this happening, you take a look at Iran's position. Iran is the only one making a noise about the Palestinian people and जो Gaza में हो रहा है. Which other government, including Saudi Arabia, the self-proclaimed leader of the Arab world, Egypt, Jordan, all of whom are affected, nobody has said a word.
Qatar, Iran, Turkey, and China. That's it.
कतर का भी largely through Al Jazeera.
हाँ.
It is a mouthpiece. It is a
Hmm.
right. Otherwise, everyone has just conveniently ignored it.
Shanti
क्योंकि
Bhavatu.
yeah. It is all the young children who are shouting up, "We, my heart bleeds for Gaza, save Palestinians." But the official stance has, and मैं अब एक और चीज बताऊंगा. मैं there was speaking to a friend of mine in Egypt. He was in Cairo. He said Ramzan चल रहा है. He said not a word is going on in Cairo about Gaza or the Palestinians. They are not bothered. Exact words. Why? Because there's a bigger game plan which is unfolding in this war, which is what you and me will try to unfold as we go along.
Sir, you know what I'm interested. You mentioned that strategic messaging, right?
Correct?
Which is very interesting. Now I want to ask you two things. One is, पहले तो देखो, let's frame the scenario. ईरान के ऊपर
Uh-huh.
थोड़ा सा उस पे फोकस करते हैं. Iran has kept proxies to keep the war away from his border,
Correct?
right? He says, यार कोई पास में आएगा, I don't have a military, I don't have a, I mean, I have drones, I have people, but
I have rockets, missiles, पर हमें
हाँ,
पता है कितना इफेक्टिव नहीं है. हाँ.
लग जाएगी मेरी. And my
Yeah.
my what do you call, my geography is a bit good.
Yeah.
So ठीक है, fair enough. Now let's understand one thing. When you are keeping the war away from your border, यहाँ पर ये जो जैश उल अदल, right? You brought the war close to your border and you created a threat from Pakistan.
Yes.
ठीक है, तो एक थ्रेट यहाँ से आ गया. दूसरा थ्रेट आपने इजराइल से डायरेक्ट कराया है इसके ऊपर,
Embassy
सीरिया
के
पे,
ऊपर.
right?
Right.
Third threat is the US strikes which have been happening on the Kurds in Iraq and Syria.
Correct.
ठीक है, so you've targeted all three of these things. Now my point is, sir, Iran has options. Iran is not stupid as well. इसके पास बहुत options है. What can he do, realistically speaking? Because, and give me another 10 seconds, previous attacks have always been a Charlie whiskey setup. हाँ भाई, मैं तेरे को मारने वाला हूँ, एक काम कर, वो बेस जरा खाली कर दे, उधर पे जाके रॉकेट गिरेगा.
Yeah.
That's what has been happening. Now, will
Yes.
that happen, or will this be now an escalation for real?
See, again, now Israel and Iran are sworn enemies. Is
Mhm.
Iran ka motto is death to Israel. They will not. They want to eliminate Israel. There are no two ways about it. But Iran will retaliate, but they will retaliate through activating its most strong proxy, which is the Hezbollah.
Mhm. Yeah.
That is its trump card. Hamas was also a proxy of Iran. Houthis are a proxy. Houthis are proving very effectively,
Mhm.
right? But apparently they are also running a short of missiles and rockets. क्योंकि उनके भी rockets अभी कम हो गए.
Come again.
Hezbollah is the strongest proxy. 1 lakh men,
True.
1 lakh to 1 lakh 20,000 men,
Mhm.
around 1 lakh 50,000 rockets and missiles in and wo bhi look at the geographical location, Lebanon mein, bang
Syria
in
में.
northern, bang on northern Israel. Yeah, they will not want an all-out war. Like अगर देखा जाए तो the northern front has already opened. Every day there is fighting going on and border clashes going on between Israeli troops and the Hezbollah. Every day cross-border raids चल रहे हैं. Now, will Hezbollah activate the action? They will launch a major strike. उसके बाद क्या हो रहा है? In the bigger picture, does Iran want Israel to attack the Hezbollah? The defense minister, Yoav Gallant, is very keen on attacking the Hezbollah
Opening a
and
front there.
opening up. No, but the aim is हमास का एक थ्रेट है उसको एलिमिनेट कर लो, उसके बाद हेजबुल्ला का एलिमिनेट कर लो, ताकि दोबारा कोई हमारे ऊपर इस प्रकार का 7 अक्टूबर अटैक दोबारा करने की हिम्मत ही ना करे.
Hmm.
But if they attack open a second front simultaneously, it will be stretching Israel too much. याद रखिए, Israel is not as strong as it's made out to be. When they attacked Lebanon in 1982, it created a stalemate which gave birth to the Hezbollah. They
2006 again.
attacked Lebanon again in 2006. What happened?
Same.
Hezbollah fought to a standstill.
Mhm.
They fought to a standstill. 10% of the Merkava tanks जो deploy हुए थे Lebanon में were destroyed, or now I say destroyed, were damaged by
Yep.
fire. And the end of it all, Israel attained none of their aims. Now, will they take a chance of opening another front, which will then escalate the war completely? So, I think they will be strike. Iran ने कहा 48 hours में होगा. There will be retaliation. Retaliation के बाद there will be negotiations in which the situation will be slightly diffused. पर ये तो अभी की बात है.
Hmm.
In the bigger picture, remember the puppet master is the USA. What is the USA's game? Do they want to eliminate Iran as a threat like they did with Iraq? ये मौका भी आ गया है अच्छा उनके लिए. Let Hamas go. Hamas will be destroyed. I mean, it
There
needs
is
to
an
get
ethnic angle to it. Sorry, but when
चाहिए,
you look at it, Iran is Shia,
right?
Hezbollah is Shia,
Yes,
Hamas is Sunni, expendable.
correct. Okay,
ठीक
yes,
है.
yes.
Even क्या नाम है,
Houthis are
Houthi,
Shias.
Shia, so
Hmm.
not expendable.
Yes,
The power needs to be kept. ये बहुत important है, because I would rather say, sir, what you're saying, I would rather hint at something that I've been yapping about for a while, that use Pakistan. USA doesn't want to fight on its own. अपने आप क्यों
right.
लड़ेगा वो? किसी और को लड़ाओ.
To activate Pakistan against Iran?
और कर ही दिया है सर. उसके
You
कंट्री में
know,
जाके 300 बंदे मारते हो आप.
yes,
उसके बाद
yes,
you had a little bit of a tiff. नाउ ईरान से इस पाइपलाइन बनाने तो 18 बिलियन डॉलर दे मेरे को. पाकिस्तान कहता है
yes.
हाँ मैं बना रहा हूँ. यूएसए
हाँ,
says really, you'll make the
okay, do
pipeline,
not do it.
sanctions.
Yes. हाँ,
So
हाँ, हाँ, हाँ.
USA is kind of igniting tensions there.
All around, correct. And now again, like you brought out in your talks, धीरे धीरे USA is getting Pakistan back into their fold. धीरे धीरे.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, because it is, even though it is a nuisance, it is a useful tool to have for the right time. तो जो
That's true.
आपने एंगल बताया है, honestly, it did not strike me कि Pakistan can be the tool against Iran. But yes, Pakistani may not launch a full all-out war, but थोड़ा सा skirmishing कर लो, posturing कर लो, जैसे कहते हैं ना, अब तक posturing ही चल रहा है, to show Iran that the costs are too high.
Mhm.
Remember, the USA is doing everything to keep the war from expanding. They've sent 2 carrier groups in the ocean, in the Mediterranean, in the region, just to tell people you get funny, you enter the conflict, and we are there also.
Let's talk about the factor that USA is now playing a back end game, because of whatever said and done, Okay, let's talk about the ground war first before we come into that back end game. The Gaza ground war, sir. You know, a lot of people expected the Israelis to do well. Even I did. Initially, they did really fast. They did their operations properly in the north and all that stuff. Post that, there've been a lot of and what पढ़ रहा हूं मैं कि a lot of military people are saying, yeah, these guys are wasting time. They need to change their tact.
Absolutely.
They're stuck in a loop now. They need to change their tact. And the Americans are giving them the technology. उनके पास है वो ground penetrating radar है, सब कुछ है. आप use क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो? But they wanting the Israelis wanting to do that face fight. So they're doing house to house search and this the traditional way. I don't know why, sir. वो मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. So how do you see the ground war? And can
Super,
this ground war actually eliminate a thought process, which I have my doubts?
super, super. ये मैं आपको एक कहानी बताऊंगा. Israel follows a policy. It's called the policy of retaliation.
Mhm.
The policy was enunciated by Moshe Dayan in 1956. And I will quote it to you right now, आपके audience के लिए. It says like this: we will never be able to stop an attack on Israeli territories. They will attack, our settlers will be killed, our posts will be raided. Since we cannot stop it, we must retaliate and tell our enemies that the cost of any one attack will be so high that they will not be able to take it.
Mowing
That
the grass, huh?
policy of retaliation has been going on since 1956.
Mhm.
जब Israel was attacked now, ये अभी हम लोग बैकग्राउंड देखा था. Israel, this 7 October attack was the product of Netanyahu, पर वो एक
Yeah.
दूसरी कहानी है. When Israel was attacked, they launched a policy of retaliation without thinking it through. मैंने एक आर्टिकल लिखा था, उसमें मैं लिखा, I called just the day the attack came, I said Israel has got 3 weeks to attain what it wants to do. After 3 weeks, it will lose world sympathy. It will not be the victim, it will be the aggressor. What should
Momentum.
be, no, I said, what should be their policy?
Yeah.
I said, their policy should have been do what you did with the Germans, the Nazis, do what you did with those who caused the Munich massacre. The Jews, the Israelis, who salute them and their courage. They got every Nazi responsible for the Holocaust back from Argentina, Brazil, put him on trial and hung him. It took them 20 years. They took, जब Munich massacre हुआ था, every man, 20 people involved in that attack which killed the Israeli athletes were killed in 2 years' time wherever they were across the world. What happened? Israel got retaliation. At the same time, it got credit for not retaliating, for not overreacting. In this case, when they went, you know something, they went with 3 aims. They said first aim is we will eliminate Hamas. Second aim is we will get our hostages back. Third aim is we will create a security, we will make a security infrastructure in the region which is ensures our permanent security. 3 aims. When they went in, what did they do? They hammered the daylight for about 3 weeks. They went to the north, they pushed everyone to the south they first went in the north to Gaza City. They वहां कुछ नहीं मिला. They went down to the south. They went to Khan Yunis. Khan Yunis में कुछ नहीं मिला. So then now they're going further south. Last strip रह गया Rafah. वहां हम लोग attack करेंगे. Now Adi, 2.3 million Gazans, out of which 30,000 are Hamas fighters, and he's not a Hamas fighter in a uniform with a badge out here which says Hamas. He is wearing the same dress you and I are wearing. He is hiding in the same civilians. Can you identify him? Who are they attacking? I haven't understood who are they attacking. And why are they attacking with tanks? No. This calls for precision sniper operations, precision commando raids, intelligence raids. But unhone, just to show how tough and strong they are, they overplayed their hand. So abhi bhi Rafa रह गया है. They will not launch the offensive because they know 1.5 million में who are they going to find? Who are those 12,000 12 to 15,000 Hamas fighters they're looking for. They don't know who they are. Also, in this 5 months of attacks, there are three major kingpins of Hamas:
Mm.
Yahya Sinwar, Mohammed Daif, and Marwan Isa. The Marwan Isa is supposedly killed last fortnight, but the other two are still free. उनके 243 hostages थे, 153 were released in a hostage swap. They have rescued one hostage. Only
Two,
one.
sir.
Two now?
Two,
Okay.
two.
Two
Two.
हो गए अभी. One was that lady soldier, Ori Megadish, and one was the second one.
Yeah,
Others
the
they killed.
old person, oldish person.
So,
They in Rafah only they
yeah.
pulled them out, sir.
So is Israel attaining any of its military aims? No, none. At the end of it all, they've destroyed Gaza. Is its security safer? I have my doubts.
That could be one of the military aims. ठीक है, destroy, flatten the damn place, remove the infrastructure. Fair enough, accepted. But
And then,
destroying Hamas is a bit,
no,
yeah, that's a bit doubtful.
वो नहीं
Sir, see,
होता है.
that's the whole thing. I mean, if the Israelis इन्होंने अगर war को properly handle किया होता, and not just in Gaza, because Hamas presence is not in Gaza only. गाजा में भी है, वेस्ट बैंक में भी है, कतर में भी है. आप करो ना, you want to play the game, then you go hit around, which is what the Mossad actually does. आपने जो initially बोला था कि play the Mossad game,
Yes.
play the real Israeli game. ये जो game खेल रहे हैं, this is not the Israeli game, and this is something
No.
which is
The
it's a
angry
little,
game.
yeah,
एक
it's an
गुस्से का
angry game.
game. Yeah.
हाँ. And I mean, I don't buy this whole narrative of casualties and this and that. ठीक है, अब war है तो casualty होगा. There is nothing much you can do about it. But 30,000 gone, 40,000 gone. Who's counting? I don't know. We're believing the Hamas Ministry of Health. I don't buy all that stuff. But having said that, humanitarian crisis तो है. There is no question about it.
Yes. Yes.
ठीक है. And they could have handled this. मेरे हिसाब से sir, I'm just taking a leaf from you. Tell all the Gazans, भाई वो एक जगह है, उधर जाके खड़े हो जाओ. I'm going to level this place. ठीक है. You take what you need to. Here are your tents. Here are your this thing. Here are that thing. Go stand there, because I'm going to rip this thing open. At least the world would have said, ठीक है यार, ये बंदे तो नहीं मार रहे फालतू में. ये तो, but today now, yesterday they bombed a doctor,
yes,
and they said this because of poor coordination amongst the commanders. This is the official statement of the IDF.
Yes, I saw that TV पर.
I was like,
They killed 8 workers. Yes.
can you imagine? So sir, अभी आते हैं. Let's come to the final solution. Right towards the end of our discussion, before we start taking audience questions. There are about 1,500 people watching, guys. Please hit the like button hard. यार 444 likes, 1,500, ये तो यार cheating है. आप लोग सब cheating कर रहे हो मेरे साथ. ऐसे मत करो यार, please. जरा everything apart from the dislike button, press it. ठीक है, so press that. All right, let's get into my questions up. Now we know Jake Sullivan is coming.
Yes.
Right? We know that Jake Sullivan का एक structure उसने बनाया है to meet MBS. He's coming in.
Yes, right.
And the game is that MBS will sign a document which will say that okay, we will normalize with Israel.
Right.
And that document will be shown to Netanyahu. देख भाई.
Right.
The cost for this is two-state solution, stop the war.
Apps.
And of course, कुछ ना कुछ बीच में वो population transfer उसका एक plan है, which nobody's talking about because it's going to create a huge tamasha. But nobody's talking about this. What is the possibility of something like that actually happening?
Very good. Thank you. Adi, superb. Superb. You know, this war, firstly, everyone's fed up of Netanyahu, including the USA. Like I said, they overplayed their hand. He has to go. He overplayed it. He's got to go. His own people want him out. The US wants him out. He has created. He's the man responsible for the whole nonsense. Right? Now, the only thing he had, Israel was doing superb till 7th October. They were recognized by UAE, 7 Arab states of Bahrain, Sudan, so they recognized them. The Abraham Accord was signed. They were to have met MBS just 2 months. There was a summit just 2 months later on. They want recognition. if Israel gets the recognition of Saudi Arabia, and they have to accept a two-state solution. There's no other there's no other solution to the Middle East. But look at it this way: Israel has been accepting the two-state solution since 1978. In 78, they accepted the two-state solution. They did nothing. In the Oslo Accords of 1991, they have accepted the two-state solution. They have
They
done
signed
nothing.
it.
They signed it. In 2003, they accepted the two-state solution. What have they done? They've given powers to the Palestinian authorities to run the West Bank municipality.
And
Now,
walked off Gaza and said, "Do what you want to."
गाजा में हमास आ गया, so we put it under a blockade. They put it under blockade since 2007.
That to they and the Egyptians both did it.
Yeah, Egypt. Yeah, they were had in. Yeah, they both.
Egyptians are actually worse with the Gazans than the Israelis, by the way. Oh
Egyptians
my
don't
God.
bother about the cousins. They're not bothered at all. They know it because if they come, they do the same chaos which the Palestinians did in Jordan, which they did in Lebanon, which they did in Tunisia. But what I'm trying to say is they will agree to this two-state solution, which will mean Palestinian Authority will take over Gaza, part of the governance of Gaza, let me put it this way. And then they will discuss talks for the full implementation of a two-state solution at a later juncture, which will continue discussing for a long time. But what it implies by this is that Israel would have actually got away. I actually felt they would. I actually did not think they would get away with this scale of carnage which they have done. But apparently, US pressure has kept all the Arabs quiet. Nobody has spoken. Nobody has protested. I mean, they have protested, but nothing more than lip service.
Somewhere
And
down the line, I really feel that the Arabs also wanted to see this happen.
yes,
कि यार जाओ यार, मारो इनको. We're sick of these guys. Just go hit them. I don't know.
Adi,
This is something I read. There's nobody saying this, but
okay. And then I'll tell you one more angle. एक और angle बताता हूँ आपको. What you said in the beginning with Iran, right? In the Middle East, which are the three poles of power? Israel, strongest militarily and politically,
Saudi and Iran.
Saudi Arabia, and Iran. All three of them don't see eye to eye. There is a balance of unease, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
If Sunni Saudi, and Israel get together against Shia Iran, Iran is neutralized in the Middle East, considering the fact that they've been under sanction, the US has been after them for decades now.
True.
So, what are we saying? Is Saudi willing to allow Israel to weaken Iran's proxies? And then maybe baad mein, wait a word, baad mein, give a wink when the Iranians retaliate and the US and Israel use it as a provocation for an attack maybe on the nuclear reactors or maybe an attack to destroy their military capabilities once and for all.
कर लो कोई बात नहीं
Is
देखेंगे.
it possible?
Quite.
Is the big game now not just आपने बिल्कुल ठीक कहा, it is part of a big game. क्या है ये big game? Is the big game Gaza have become pawns? Is the big game now Hezbollah and Iran? The biggest fish is Iran. I would not put it past the USA and the power politics of the Middle East if this is the game going on within the game.
Game within the game, and that's the beauty of this particular war is that, and I personally feel so. This war, I don't know who scheduled it. Somebody did because the game needed to change in the Middle East. You couldn't have gone on beyond the way it was. And I think this war, whatever said and done right now, we can't see it. But going forward, I think we'll see a solution emerging. Because war does create changes in the order in a region, and I think that's what is going to happen here. Thank you, sir, for that wonderful erudite explanation of stuff. Let's get into some questions, guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, spread the word about Dev Talks. We're at 187,000. You guys have, we all have 27 days to hit our target of 200,000. So that's another 13,000 in 27 days. That's about 500 subscribers a day. Only way that can happen is if you guys like the video really, really hard. So please, my request is please do that. And most importantly, guys, spread the word, share it with your friends and family. You can contribute towards this platform by using the QR code, or you can use the PayPal in the description, link in the description, or you can use super stickers, super chats. Thank you so much. Let's get into the first question. Um, okay, Vasudevji, thank you so much for becoming a member. All right. Tony Stark, thank you so much. Says possibility of Iran versus Saudi due to war due to US decline. Is there a probability, sir?
What Tony means is due to US decline of influence in the region.
Yeah.
Yes. Bilkul, very good question, Tony, because the US influence has declined in the Middle East. And who has filled up that gap? China and Russia. More Russia than China. Before they got involved in Ukraine, Russia had come in a very big way in Syria, in Iraq, in the other places. Now the USA is suddenly realizing it is losing its influence, even though they didn't want Middle East oil any longer because they got their
Mhm.
own oil. But the area is too vital for them to let go. So, like I bought out, three pillars of power: Iran, Saudi, and Israel. The enemy of the USA is Iran. Ally is Israel.
Saudi
Uh,
and Russia.
Saudi can go either way. So if they get Iran and Saudi, that Shia Sunni animosity is brought about once again. The fear of Iran's nuclear program is raised once again. And Iran goes the Iraq way. Remember how the USA destroyed a thriving nation. It will be more difficult because it is 1.5 times the size of Iraq.
Geography
But
is terrible.
by using the same proxies, using Saudi bases in the vicinity, we weaken it sufficiently. Yeah.
And the geography in Iran is terrible. It's not
Yeah.
feasible for a ground assault. It's terrible.
Oh, it's too vast.
No,
Yeah.
apart from that, surrounded by that hill range. I forget the name. On the east and the west, there are two ranges which kind of surround it. So anything that you if you want to get into the depth, you have to cross through these hills. And for that kind of a country, the size of troops that you're going, oh wow.
Yes.
Simran, thank you so much for your contribution and your wonderful help in promoting and making sure people are liking the videos. Uh, Rohit ji कहते हैं, Adi, is Mossad running an ex-Muslim movement in Iran? Yes.
Ex-Muslim movement in Iran.
Yes.
What do you
Yes.
mean by
As
that?
in, so there's a movement in Iran right now where a lot of people have unofficially but officially left Islam. And there is, I mean, I don't know if you noticed that the football match that was happening, right? So some people took out the Palestinian flag, the government chaps, and the
I
entire
noticed
stadium.
that.
Yeah, the entire stadium went. You can shove the Palestinian flag up your. Yeah,
Mm.
that's what they said.
Well, what he's saying is Mossad is definitely running not just movement in Iran in many, many different ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are capitalizing on public anger. The
Hmm.
anger is because the living conditions in Iran have deteriorated tremendously because of US sanctions.
True.
So they will capitalize it to get rid of the Ayatollahs and maybe get a more amenable regime in power. That is what
True.
both US and Israel want.
True. Simran, once again, thank you so much. Will India ever be an assertive power like the US in the future?
And assertive power, yes, we already are an assertive power.
Not like the
Like
US
the
at least.
like the USA, I hope never, because that kind of assertiveness is evil. We should be
Thank you.
assertive to maintain our interests, and like our wonderful foreign minister says, the interests of our 1.3 billion people.
Hmm.
India will do everything to ensure that the interests of the country and its people are maintained. We will take our own stance. We'll assert ourselves in that manner, but not the US kind of assertion, which tramples over all other countries, regimes, people, and everything else to maintain their hold. But yeah, India is now asserting itself in its rise, and you, me, and every Indian is very proud of it.
Summer collections. Thank you so much. My question is Israel and US would have already calculated how and what Iran will do. What are they? What do they have as counter to that?
Excellent question. What an excellent question. Now, this is the sub question which is going on in the minds of the Pentagon and the US military as well, and everybody else. What are Iran's options? Which option can they take?
Correct.
At the moment, they know the options are launch more retaliatory strikes, launch more attacks by their militia, activate the Hezbollah in a full fledged war. Will they do that? No. So the best option for Iran at this juncture is activate Hezbollah even more strongly.
Hmm.
Maybe suck in the Israelis who are already weakened quite badly. Remember, in the Israel is paying a high price for this war. It's not all hunky dory for them. The economy is shattering. They have
60.
got 3 lakh people who have now mobilized. They've got nobody to man their professionals have gone.
Factories.
So, if they activate the Hezbollah and the war continues in this went on for 4 months, that war continues maybe for a year more, it'll mean the destruction of Lebanon and the people. But are
Yeah,
they also going to become pawns like the Gazans have become pawns?
true.
That is the question which is
The
keeping people
question.
awake at night.
Yeah. Akashji, thank you so much. A very interesting question. I must say, this one is in view of the progression of present events. Is it the USA that's playing the game all over again? Of course, while the American continent is peaceful, Eurasia is a merry mess.
You know something? USA is so fortunate. It has been blessed by geography. एक continent दूर रख दिया, Pacific Ocean on one side, Atlantic Ocean on one side. They have built up the world's largest navy, the world's largest economy, the world's largest military might, the world's largest technology. And with that, they'll activate a fire anyway, keeping it away from the US mainland. So the USA is playing its game. And you know, in Eurasia, Europe, what are the game they played? They activated Ukraine against Russia, a totally needless war.
Hmm.
The US, the Ukrainians were promised, you can come into NATO, we will help you out, we'll activate Article 5. Don't worry, you'll go ahead with it. And they were just abandoned. The aid is all peanuts, it's just to keep weaken Russia, nothing more than that. In Asia, they are doing the same thing. I mean, they've gone to Syria, Iraq, they are prolonging the Middle East war, they're going to stop it easily. And the biggest game they are playing is they are trying, in case a conflict does arise between India and China,
Ah, that they want.
provo-
They'd love it.
provocation of this conflict would be beneficial to the USA but disastrous to everybody else. Now, as I have written my book on the Ukraine Gaza, you know, and one of the biggest lessons which I've drawn from that book is India should never be Ukraine.
I've been
We
saying
won't,
that they want us to fight China. They're
definitely.
itching for it.
But they would love
JJ
it.
JJ says Iran leadership has taken the bait, chest thumping, all, and now escalation. Very potent situation. Iranians must budge or might get into more trouble.
Well, the chest thumping is natural. They have to do that.
Hmm.
Attacks and retaliation is natural. They has to do that. The point is, where did it stop?
Yeah, that's true. Abhishek Samanji says, what role do you think Saudi Arabia is playing in the conflict in the long term? MBS seems to be keen in building trade relations with Israel, and so do the other sheikhs. How will it play out?
Good.
He'd sign the
Very
paper
good.
today.
Very good. You see, now for Saudi, I remember that just identify the three poles: Iran, Saudi, Israel. Saudi's got the money,
Mhm.
Israel's got the technology and the
Mhm.
military might. If the two of them come together, can you imagine how the pole of power in the Middle East shifts irrevocably?
Hmm.
and both of them are under US influence. Because one of the things with Saudi looking for is a US security guarantee. If they get that, they can focus on his main aim. MBS's main aim is of shifting Saudi Arabia away from an oil based economy to a technology and a commerce based one. A very sensible thing to do. So, MBS may be more than willing to overlook Israel's transgressions and still strike a deal with Israel in the end so that both sides get together. Saudi gets its technology, it gets a military umbrella, and allowed to progress and develop its economy in the new direction he wants to send it in.
True. Oh, please, God, awake me. Wake me. Thank you so much for becoming a member. That's a very interesting name. Akshay Iyer, thank you so much for this contribution. It says, is wokeism China's assault on USA, countering geography? Wokeism is a disease that the Americans made for themselves. The Chinese are just serving it to them hot and nice. That's all. It's using TikTok. That's what I feel. So that's what is happening. I mean, the Chinese have literally covered TikTok nicely with that. Partha says, thank you so much. And he says, after Operation Sankalp, my friends abroad were asking me, since when does India have C-17s, P-8Is, and modern ships? They think all these were donated.
They were definitely not donated. We've been having it now the past 5 years. Hercules came C-130s we've been having for the past decade now.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
we
the
are
Poseidon
making
was
the
8 years, the Poseidon 8 years earlier on.
yeah,
Touch wood. But the Indian Navy's reach has expanded tremendously. I would say, in the manner in which we evacuated the people from everywhere. It is the Navy and the Air Force with long reach strategic lift. We have always been the first to do that, even before the US does it. So, ladies and gentlemen, as a military power, we have made huge strides.
mhm,
We are still nowhere near the reach, near the kind of level we want to. But yeah, we are a good military power capable of holding our own, attaining our military aims, and not just in these operations, but in all other
true,
operations.
true. Kapil says, what is the future of IMEC in coming days while the whole region of Gulf is in the war zone and after effects of the war will put enemy between Gulf
Good,
and Israel? Your
very
views?
good, very good. See, IMEC will come about at a later juncture. It's been postponed, all right. But if it is some once the idea has been germinated, remember it has got too
It will
many
come.
players involved in it. It's not
Apart
just
from that,
India.
ground trials have already happened, sir.
Yeah,
The Arabs have opened up that store. What
the
is it?
ports, yeah, the
The
land
India,
corridor.
the Bharat Mart. No, the Bharat Mart is already open there.
Yes.
We are sending stuff to Israelis by road already. And if
Ah.
you hear what the Greek Prime Minister said, screw the war, let's do this. That's exactly what he said. That despite the war, let's go ahead with IMEC. Let's do this. So I
But
guess,
one thing is there about IMEC. For IMEC to be truly successful, what is the linchpin of it?
sir.
Chabahar Port. If we have that, what we want is connectivity to the Middle
Yeah,
East.
yeah.
That is what will give us maximum connectivity already existing. So unfortunately, this war is it has got, like I said, there are wheels within wheels within wheels within wheels.
True.
And we have to find a way to circumvent a way through that.
Vitamin Protein says, respected sir, this was not a normal battleground. The enemy had proper infrastructure underground, sniper operations, or commando operations on a place like that is just not possible.
Very
That's the
good.
challenge, yeah? Isn't it, sir?
Very good. Of course, it was a normal battleground. It was a city, it was an urban battle. The biggest conventional battle in a built up
Hmm.
area was the Battle of Stalingrad,
Yeah.
in which between the German Sixth Army and part of the Fourth Army and the Soviets at that time. That battle went over 6 months. And in that battle, there was one German soldier dying every 6 seconds in the height of
Mhm.
the battle. It was fought in a strip of land on the bank of the Volga. Okay, the Volga was the sea behind it, assuming, and it was exactly 41 kilometers long,
Yeah,
the same length of Gaza.
exactly.
So, what I'm trying to bring out is I mean, and this terrain is much better than that. It was a completely built up area. This is built up area in patches, but huge built up area.
True.
So that is why I say right in the beginning, their operation to go into this angrily to clear that built up area of Hamas, when they can't identify Hamas, they can't identify a fighter, they know the location of that, was too heavy handed. You should have
True.
been intelligence based operations, precision operation going on, let it go on for 2 years. कुछ नहीं फर्क पड़ता है. Let them get them one by one, let them knock them off one by one. That would have been better for them. So
Even if
the
they went inside, they had to make bases, use their ground penetrating radars, and do what you need to after that. Tony Stark, once again, thank you so much. Effect of MBS, Putin friendship on the Pentagon.
they don't like it.
They hate it.
They don't like it.
You're being polite, so they hate it. They don't even like us doing all that. He says, what
Very good.
wasn't Israel sleeping out when Amnesty International reported the Hamas terror activities in Shifa hospitals 8 years ago? Yep.
Excellent question. Excellent question. Not, Baba, now you understand the story. Not just that. The rise of Hamas was known to Israeli intelligence for the past 2 years. But Netanyahu allowed Hamas to prosper. There
Mhm.
were carton loads, vehicle loads of money sent by Qatar to Hamas, escorted by Mossad officials, because they wanted to buy out Hamas into making them think, use this money for infrastructure and development.
They did.
They
They
knew,
under the
yes,
ground.
yes, they who had given rise to Hamas.
Yeah.
Israel. Israel gave rise to Hamas to counter the Palestinian Authority, to counter Fatah of the Palestinians. This morphed into a monster more than what they imagined. They knew the activity. Baba, you could not have planned an attack on this scale without them being aware of it. They chose to ignore it. The intelligence reports were, I wouldn't say deliberately or maybe out of oversight or whatever, but the intelligence report that Hamas is planned 2 days before the attack, Egypt sent a message to the PMO's office. Hamas is planning something big. It was ignored. So, a lot of, I would say, errors of omission and commission have been
Yeah.
conducted by the Israelis in this operation.
That's how I think every war is. And the last one, Jayashiji, thank you so much for this wonderful question, that wonderful comment. It's a devastating earthquake, and heart goes out to the people of Taiwan. There is no question about it. And as a matter of fact, I would go so far as to say that I don't know if there is any official warning. Guys, brace for a tsunami, right?
Mm.
Brace for it, because after an earthquake which comes of this magnitude in the ocean, you have a tsunami. If I'm proven wrong, you can come and smack shoes on my head. I have no problems. But please, please, please brace for a tsunami. Okinawa, the islands, the Strait Islands. As a matter of fact, even I would say close to the mainland, there will be impacts. Mainland China as well, there will be impacts. But the Taiwanese people, they need to brace for a tsunami, and heart goes out for them. That's something that I would say. So, anything?
Thank you very much. Very good questions. Thank you, Adi. As always, a huge pleasure having a Jugalbandi with you.
Thank you, sir. Lovely talking to you guys. Like karo before you sign off. We've got about 1,000, touching close to 1,000 likes. I'm sure we can do that. 1,600 people are still online. Please, please, please like the show before you sign off. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Jai.